Let's bring in Republican Congressman from South Florida, Congressman Carlos Curbelo. He was elected in 2014 to represent the 26th Congressional District. Congressman, there are various audiences and constituencies watching this visit, the exchange, the remarks of both presidents. What's your perspective?
Brian, I've tried to keep an open mind about this visit. We all want what's best for the Cuban people, the American people, but I'll tell you, it was tough to sit back and watch a third world country dictator, an anti-American dictator, lecture the American president on human rights, on social justice, on Venezuela, when the Cuban dictators are the authors of a lot of the death and destruction we've seen in Venezuela, on quality of life in Cuba. Just 3 days ago, 9 Cubans died in the ocean trying to escape Cuba to come to our country. So politics aside, as an American citizen, it was tough to watch this octogenarian, somewhat incoherent dictator, and I can understand Spanish, lecture our president on some of these basic issues when we all know the reality of what life is like in Cuba. We all saw those horrifying images from just yesterday, women peacefully demonstrating, being dragged into police vans. Give me a break. I mean, I don't know if I could have stood there and taken that the way President Obama did.
What is the alternative in your view?
The alternative, Brian, is to extract some concessions for the United States. When you look at this last year of engagement, Cuba and the United States, the list of concessions that our government has afforded the Cuban dictatorship is long. And you heard Raul Castro there asking for more. He's asking for Gitmo, even though we are legally in Gitmo. We had an agreement with the Cuban government that predated the Cuban Revolution. Why didn't President Obama make some demands, for example, for fugitives of American law, like a cop killer from New Jersey, Cubans who were responsible for defrauding Medicare in the millions of dollars, Cubans who killed 4 Americans on February 24th, 1996? Where is our list of demands? Not so much for the Cuban people, even though that's important too, because we, in our neighborhood, in this hemisphere, we don't practice the type of human rights abuses that you see in the Middle East and in other parts of the world. But when are the American people going to get something out of this negotiation? When are U.S. national security interests going to benefit? The FBI still says that Cuba has one of the most sophisticated spy networks in our country. All of this has to change before we continue granting Cuba's dictators more and more.
Congressman, thank you very much for being patient with us, for watching along with us and offering your view on what we just witnessed in Havana, Cuba. Certainly a history-making session between these two.